Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, it's actually this morning. It is 5:08 a.m. and I just woke up like 15 minutes ago. Alex turned over and I said, "Hey babe, it's 5 a.m. and I'm going to vlog, or I'm just going to vlog." And he was like, "Okay." He's so funny. I had planned to just lay down for an hour last night and vlog, and my alarm went off, and I was like, I'll sleep just a little bit longer. And then I had this horrible, horrible nightmare. It's so weird because later when I wake up and I look back on the nightmare, it's like it doesn't seem so scary to me. But at the time that I wake up and I've just had the nightmare, like it seems terrifying to me. Like I don't want to leave the room. And I almost kind of wonder if I wasn't like making a noise in my sleep or something about it, because Boo Radley was like sitting like right next to me and like sitting up like when I woke up from my nightmare. It was like the weirdest thing. And like I vividly like remember the nightmare too. It's weird. So, but I have to just say before that, when I got into my car and I was like heating it up, I was like sitting in the driveway. I'm gonna get coffee in just a second. I'm not up for the day, okay? We're not all that. I'm gonna vlog and then I might listen to a half an hour of my audiobook and then I'm gonna go home and go back to sleep for a little bit. Alex is off today. He's gonna go do hot yoga, and then he had something else to do. Oh, he's gonna mail back, he's gonna return the Doc Marten boots I got him for Christmas, and then he's gonna order them online. I feel really bad. Like, they promised me that they would have them in by, they were like, oh yeah, we'll have them in no later than middle of the month, blah, 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 but then at least you'll have something for him underneath the Christmas tree. Just FYI, this was Journeys that I ordered them from, and they were really nice, you know? But I mean, I looked at them and I said, you're sure you're gonna have them in by the middle of the month? We get shipments in all the time. We will definitely have them in by the middle of the month. Alex has checked with them so many times, and they were like at the latest, the middle of the month. Alex has checked with them so many times, and which, I mean, this is whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But I mean, he wanted them for the winter, and now it's like, you know. So, they still don't have them. And I guess he went in there and asked them if, like, they could order a pair through there for him, which is what I originally asked. And they kind of, like, gave him some runaround about, like, how difficult it would be and whatever. So he's like, well, I'm just going to return them then. And then I can just order them through the website. And I was like, okay. I feel kind of bad. Like, that was, like, one of the things, like, that was, like, one of the main things that he really wanted. But whatever, it is what it is. And then he has something else he has to return. Some workout clothes. He's been doing this hot yoga, like, every day. He really likes it. It's like, you book these appointments. It's like, he was explaining it to me last night, because he was like, I really would like for you to do it. He was like, I think that you would really enjoy it. You, like, book these rooms, and then it's like, you go by yourself or with one other person, and then it's like a sauna that you do it in. He said they're real small. I said, how small are the rooms? He said, it's like smaller than our closet. And then it's like an hour or an hour and a half. It's like different classes that you can take, and you take them on like a video, and you do them like in this sauna. And he loves it because he's like, you just sweat and sweat and sweat. And so he comes home and he's like, I feel like I sweat so much, I feel so good. I think maybe I'll take a class with him this week. I'll try it. I'm up for anything. I mean, I can always like walk out if I don't like it, right? But anyway. So I'm gonna try that with him, I think, this week. Maybe I'll do it with him on Sunday. Maybe Sunday. Well, I've got some stuff I've got to do on Sunday, so maybe we'll give me put it back. I'm gonna do it with him one day this week. And if I like it, then I'll start doing it, you know, myself. But anyway, that would be healthy for me. We went to dinner tonight. I actually talked to the waitress for a long time about being vegetarian, because she was talking about what, like, I said to her something about when I was ordering, and she said, oh, I just became a vegetarian. And I said, oh, you are? And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, I'm a pescatarian, and I'm trying to become a vegetarian. I'm like kind of phased into that. And she's like, and then I give myself like one cheat day a week. And she looked at me and she's like, I know that's not like really vegetarian. I said, listen, I said, it's taken me kind of some time to get used to this whole process. I said, when I first started it, and she's like, well, what did get you first started? And I said, well, I was gonna tell this whole other thing about Anne Murray. I was listening to this Anne Murray song when I got in my car. I don't even remember which one it was now, but it was, oh my God, It Might Be You from, did you ever see that movie with Dustin Hoffman, Tootsie? I liked that movie when I was a little kid. But anyway, another great movie with Jessica Lange in her early days. I haven't seen that movie in so long, I don't even know. But anyway, Gina Davis was in that too. But they were playing this Anne Murray song. They were playing some great music on here tonight. Now they're playing Gladys Knight and the Pips. I love Gladys Knight and the Pips. But they were playing this Anne Murray song, and I forgot that when I was a kid, I loved Anne Murray. And my mom would play her, and I would just like sing along to Anne Murray. I can't remember what the song was that I really liked of hers. Did Anne Murray do a song on the, I feel like she did, on the Urban Cowboy soundtrack? I feel like she did a song on the Urban Cowboy soundtrack, and I really liked that. I loved that movie, Urban Cowboy, when I was a kid. I always wanted to be that girl that John Travolta left. Well, he didn't leave Deborah Winger for her, but he was with that girl that had like the long hair. Do you remember her? I always thought she was the coolest. I mean, I didn't know at that age that I thought she was sexy, but I did. I thought she was so cool. She had the long hair and she wore that cool cowboy hat. I wanted to be her so bad. And then as I got older, I realized I really wanted to be Deborah Winger. I mean, who doesn't want to be Deborah Winger in every movie? She's just fantastic. What happened to her? She was in some TV show on Netflix a while ago, because I would say stuff about Deborah Winger in my vlog and people would comment on it. Deborah Winger is probably one of my all-time favorite actresses. I loved her in Terms of Endearment, obviously. How could you not? She was so good in that movie. I love Terms of Endearment, period. It's one of the greatest movies that has ever been made. And, you know, my husband has not seen, like, Terms of Endearment, Steel Magnolias. My husband has never even seen To Kill a Mockingbird. We were talking about this, and I said, we need to start watching some of these movies. And he was like, well, how old are they? I go, Alex, because we watched a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock movies a couple years ago, because he had never seen them. And I said, babe, you would love these movies, just trust me on this. And he goes, okay. And we watched, like, The Man Who Knew Too Much. Well, first we watched Rear Window, and he loved Rear Window. And then we watched, because before that, he kind of considered, I mean, I know this is going to sound funny, but, like, you have to understand, like, given his age at that time, he considered anything before, like, Mean Girls, like, super old. And so then we watched The Man Who Knew Too Much, and he really liked that one, too. And so we had watched a bunch of movies. Maybe tonight. Well, I got sent a bunch of stuff. I don't know if you guys saw this on my Instagram. I posted on my Instagram story that Warner Brothers had reached out to me. It was really, really cool. And Warner Brothers had reached out to me and asked me if, the guy was so nice, too. Like, he messaged me after I put up the story. He messaged me on Instagram, but, like, he had contacted me through email. And he was like, hey, he was like, I'm so happy that you got your box. I emailed him back and said I got my box, you know, thank you, because I sent it so quick. Like, I literally talked to him, like, 2 days ago, and it came to the house today. I think the movie's called The Little Lies with Denzel Washington. And, I haven't watched it yet. I'm excited to watch it. It's getting kind of mixed reviews, honestly. And, I know Manal tweeted me. Hey, Manal, how are you? And she said she watched it because of my Instagram story and loved it, I think is what she said. Tanya watched it today, and long before she even knew that I got this stuff in the mail, and she told me, she was like, I'm really excited to watch this movie. I said, I've been waiting for that movie to come out too, because I'd seen the ads for it, like, I think I talked about it on here like 2 weeks ago. And so when I talked to Tanya, she was like, yeah, it wasn't what I expected. So she was like, it was completely different than what I thought it would be. And then somebody else, a couple other people told me that they liked it. So, I don't know, I'm excited to see it. Tanya and I don't always, because she said she was like, I think she said she was a little disappointed in it. Tanya and I don't always see eye to eye in movies. Like, in books we do, but like in movies, like she'll love a movie and I just won't be like thrown out by it at all. I won't love it, you know? But then I'll love a movie and she'll be like, yeah, I just didn't think it was that great. Every once in a while we both love the same movie, but very rarely. We both loved that movie. I think it was called Whiplash, about the drummer. I remember I sat there in her living room and watched it. We stayed up real late. Tanya and I used to stay up really, really late at night and watch movies. We would watch Nancy Grace, and then we would watch movies together after her husband went to sleep. We haven't done that in quite some time. She's been trying to go to bed earlier. I would go over there like after Alex went, instead of like, you know, well, this was probably before doing a vlog too, but I would, you know, instead of like listening to an audiobook and driving around and whatever, I would go over to Tanya's and she'd say, okay, what movie are we gonna watch? And she would pick something, or we would go to like the Red Box. Well, we used to go to the Blockbuster together on the way home from a meeting or whatever, and we would pick out a movie and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun. I have this limoncello that I've been drinking since last night, you guys, and it's flat, and then I have a brand new, it's totally flat, but I feel like I'm wasting it because I've got like half a can left. And then I have this one as well. But I'm kind of telling 4 different stories at the same time, so I need to like mainline it and pull it together. Streamline it. I need to streamline it and pull it together. So I was listening to this Anne Murray song. I had in my mind an idea of where I was gonna go. And now I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna go this way and then come back around, and then hopefully maybe Dunkin Donuts will be open by that point. I get some coffee. I mean, they may be open already. It's 5:21. I think they open at 5 something. Anyway, I was listening to this Anne Murray song, and then the next song they played was Ray Parker or something, I think. And it was kind of like this very jazzy song, and I don't know why, but I love this Love Station. Tom Jones, Love Me Tonight right now. I mean, who doesn't love that song from 1969, it says. Who doesn't love Tom Jones? Ugh. Ooh, okay. But anyway, I was sitting here listening to a song, and it was kind of reminding me of, what do you call it? I don't know what made me think about it, but it reminded me of, like, movies. I was thinking of movies that I used to watch when I was a kid. And I was thinking of, I've talked about this on here before. When I was a kid, I loved the movie with Lily Tomlin. Well, I loved Lily Tomlin, first of all. 9 to 5, loved it. It was probably one of my favorite movies since I was a kid. I used to be able to quote every line from 9 to 5. And I'll change you from a rooster to a hen with one shot. And don't think I can't do it, either. I used to love, well, I've always loved Dolly Parton. But that was probably where I fell in love with her first, when she played Dorothy. And I just love that whole movie. I think actually, which is so funny in retrospect, Jane Fonda was like my least favorite character in that movie. But I love 9 to 5, and then I love The Incredible Shrieking Woman with Lily Tomlin. I loved that movie so much. And I can remember back in the day, because, you know, you couldn't, like, unless this stuff was on TV and you recorded it on, like, a VCR or before that, like, a Betamax, like, you didn't have access to watch these things over and over and over and over again. So I can remember going to the video store, and I would literally, like, with my parents, like, you know, on the weekends with my dad, he would say, I mean, we would rent, like, 5 or 6, 7 movies. Like, we would rent a lot of movies, because that's all we would do on weekends. And he would say, you can rent whatever you want to rent, you know, I mean, within reason. And I I would rent a lot of the same movies over and over and over again, and that was one of them. I can also remember I would rent, because we would go to the movie store. I can see the video store. It was just called like the video store too, and it was on the way home, and it was this small little video store that was like in the strip mall by the car dealership off of Keystone. And I can remember you walked in, and it had like a certain smell to it. I remember like video stores used to have a certain smell to it back in the day. And it literally had all the boxes on the wall, and you would just like walk and look, and it was kind of like dark. And then in the back, they had that like back room door, you know, where you could go into, and that's where they had all the naughties and the dirties. Oh my Lord, that they did. I always wondered what was in there. But I remember I loved Alfred Hitchcock movies, and I always wanted to get Family Plot. And I remember my dad, like for some reason, he didn't want me to get that movie. I don't know why. My parents were kind of really worried about, like, they didn't care if I like watched horror movies, like that kind of violence. They didn't really care about. But my parents were really, and I don't think Family Plot was like a real violent movie or anything. But like as far as censorship, if I sat there and watched a movie with them and we had a discussion about it, there were a lot of movies they did not have an issue with me watching. My parents weren't big on censorship when I was a kid. But what they didn't care for was me watching a lot of really like my mom especially, but my dad too, didn't. I mean, he also didn't like me watching really, really violent movies, especially where there was a lot of guns and things like that. They didn't want me watching that, which is, you know, really funny because in retrospect, like, I've always been kind of scared of guns. And I just kind of have this like natural, like innate fear of guns. They scare me. I think people's right to own a gun is their business. Like, that's not a fight that I fight. But like, guns scare me. And my dad actually, when I was a kid, because, you know, my dad grew up in the country, kind of, like, he lived close to the country, and they would go hunting, you know. He was from northern Indiana, and, you know, he had a little, my dad loves that movie, A Christmas Story, because with Peter Billingsley that they play like on Christmas Day all day long, because he's like, this is exactly how I grew up in exactly the same town that I grew up. That movie is actually supposed to take place in northern Indiana, and it's the time period that my dad grew up, and he's like, this is exactly what it was like growing up. And my dad even had like a Red Ryder BB gun, like in that movie. So, you know, I've told this story before, but like, he took me out one time with like, you know, a BB gun, and we were shooting cans somewhere, and I had a little cowboy hat on, and I was like, Dad, can you just shoot the gun and be the cowboy and I'll be the cowgirl? Like, I didn't want to shoot the gun. And my dad was like, I don't remember what he said, but he was never pushy about that stuff. Like, he was never coming, my dad was never, and he has said to me, like, in retrospect, that he knew at like age 4, like, he's like, I always knew that you were going to be gay. And I'm like, okay, well, how? He was like, well, I just always knew, like, you liked dolls and this and that, you know. He was like, I mean, it's very stereotypical stuff, but my dad's like, I just kind of accepted it at a young age. My dad has never had an issue with it. My dad has been more accepting of my being gay than any person in my life. And it's just never been an issue for him. He believes that it's genetic. He believes that I was born that way. I mean, he really, really does. And I mean, my dad embraced me and has embraced all of my boyfriends and my husband with just open arms and an open heart, as has my stepmom. So he like never forced that stuff on me. Like, my dad never, winter storm warning, I forgot, you guys, the alert just came up. We're supposed to have snow tonight. I'm so excited. Oh my God. We're supposed to have 3 to 5 inches, which probably means we won't have anything. Have you guys seen the TikTok of the guy? It's really funny. He's like standing outside, and he's like, he was like, so ladies, he was like, we got 3 to 5 inches of snow. He's like, we got 4 to 5 inches of snow last night. So that's a lot, right? Like, do you think that's a lot? 4 to 5 inches, that's a lot of snow, right? Alex sent it to me, or I saw it the other day or something. I was like, I wish I had saved it because I thought it was so funny. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. I want to say something so bad about that. You know, I'm a grown adult, and I am married. I'm 48 years old. I don't know why I watch myself so closely sometimes. You know, listen, okay, to all the men out there that are watching this with your wives or your girlfriends, okay, and to all of my gay men followers out there, this is the truth, and we know it, okay? It's not necessarily the size of the boat, but it's the motion of the ocean, okay? And that is true. But you know what? A really nice sized boat sometimes is really pretty to look at. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say, okay? But anyway, why is it always like heterosexual men that get all hooked up on that whole like thing? Like, you know what I mean? But anyway, as if, like, let's base our masculinity on the one thing that we have literally no control over whatsoever. It's just this whole foolish concept to me. But anyway, I love saying that, knowing that there are so many boyfriends and husbands right now that are like, wait, what's he talking about right now? I love the fact that couples listen to my vlog or watch my vlog together. It means so much to me. I get emails and messages from people all the time. And especially since I started Cameo, I have gotten tons of Cameo requests from people for their boyfriends or husbands. And they're like, we watch you together and blah, 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 whatever. I just think it's the greatest thing. But anyway, yeah, my dad never, like, was ever forceful. I mean, like, he never said, like, man up, or you're gonna shoot this guy. I mean, he just never did any of that stuff, you know? And I think, in all honesty, at that time, that like, this is a really, really big deal, and I know it in my heart, and I've had conversations with my dad about it, but I don't talk about it on here a lot. But I think it is a good message for people. It's like, I think going through what I was going through at school, where I was bullied so constantly for being gay and being different and being effeminate and, you know, and not being a man enough, or like the other guys in class or whatever. I mean, we would play dodgeball, and I look back on this and I cannot believe that the teachers allowed this, like the gym teachers. Like, these kids would literally, with viciousness in their eyes, just nail me with the ball, you know? I mean, I would have, like, bruises on my leg and stuff, and the teacher would look at it, and I mean, I would, like, be holding it in so hard. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I would literally have welt marks on my legs that if that had happened to any other student in that class, that gym teacher would never have allowed it. I mean, I'm thinking about, I had forgotten all about this. I can see my gym teacher in my head, which is interesting because I think that she may have, you know, we may have had more in common maybe than she wanted to admit in retrospect. But, you know, and I can see myself, and I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, because if you cry, then they've won, right? And so I'm standing there, and it's like hurting so bad, and she'd say, you're fine, go back out and keep on playing. So send me back out there again to get a ball thrown at me to just get nailed again, right? Play baseball. I mean, when I was in elementary school and stuff, like, they'd always hit me. I would always get hit with the baseball really, really hard, you know? Except for the one time that I caught it when I was, like, I think I was a freshman in high school. But by then, they kind of just left me alone in gym class. But, you know, gym class was not I hated gym class. It's really kind of a funny story. I've literally jumped from topic to topic. I mean, it's not a funny story. I just think it's, like, really kindness to somebody's heart. Well, let me finish the dad thing. I think my dad was so loving, accepting of who I was. I mean, he met me right where I was at, and I was his kid, and I was his son. And he loved me so completely, just as I was, that was way past good enough. Like, I never felt like I needed to be more or better or different from my dad, which I think is one of the reasons why I didn't work so hard to get better grades when I was in high school. Because, I mean, I joke about how I almost didn't graduate from high school. You guys, my grades sucked. My grades were horrible, and I don't remember my parents ever really pushing me to have great grades in high school. I don't know. Maybe they thought that I was dealing with enough that they didn't push that. But I don't really remember. I mean, my grades were not good. They were not good at all. I mean, I joke about almost not graduating from high school. I almost didn't graduate from, I look back and I think, I can't believe I almost didn't graduate from high school. It's like crazy to me. Because I just never thought I wouldn't, you know, like, I don't know. And then to like flash forward a couple years to graduate school after I got sober, and I got like 4 O's, and I think to myself, like almost straight A's, for those of you that don't have, you know, I don't know how many people don't are on like a 4.0 grade point average or know what that is, or know what that is. But to think that I was the one that was standing in the way of my own academic success makes me so sad, you know? I could have gotten good grades. I could have, like, I sometimes in retrospect wonder what my life would have looked like had I worked hard in high school, had I studied. There were some classes, like math classes, I had tutors and worked very hard for, and still got C minuses and D pluses, like, with a lot of work. So I think it was my mentality that I just was stupid and I couldn't do it and blah, 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 whatever, you know? Do you guys like that band Rolls Royce? I love them. I Want to Get Next to You. I think I know that song. I want to get... Maybe I don't know it. But anyway, so I think that, like, one of the things was that my parents always provided me a loving environment. Yes, my mother drank. Yes, I grew up in an alcoholic home, but from both parents and my stepmother and my aunt and uncle and cousin, I always knew, and all of my relatives on my dad's side, I always knew that I was loved and accepted. I never once questioned that. So as soon as the school bell was dinging and I was on my way home, then I felt safe in the security of my own home, you know, and it just was never an issue with my dad. Like, he always just let me be myself. My parents always just let me be myself, which I think is really cool, you know? How did I get to all of that? I was talking about all different kinds of stuff. Oh, I was talking about how I was like, I kind of want to watch some of these movies today, is what I was thinking when I was listening to that Anne Murray song, and then I was The Incredible Shrinking Woman, and I was like 9 to 5. Like, I haven't seen some of these movies in so long, and I've been making a list of movies that I want to see, and I was like, I kind of want to see those movies again and watch them, or just have them on in the background, you know? I love the movie Into the Night with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer. I know this is going to sound so stupid, but it's literally one of my top 3, if not my favorite movie of life. I love To Kill a Mockingbird, so that will probably... To Kill a Mockingbird and then Into the Night. And I know it's such a funny, weird choice to pick as your favorite movie. If you haven't seen it, it's about this guy. It takes place like in the late 80s or early 90s. I love these, like, comedy adventure stories, and like Outrageous Fortune with Bette Midler and Shelley, what was her name? Shelley Lane? Shelley, I can't remember her name. That was in Cheers. But I loved those movies back in the day. The Gilda Radner and oh, what was her husband's name? That was the original Willy Wonka. Gene, I can't think of his name. I know somebody's shouting it out right now at me. But they were in this movie called... God, I have a copy of it at my office. I love it. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, they're like on the run kind of mystery kind of deal. But I love those kind of movies. So, what was that movie called with them? I love those 80s adventure movies, where they're like, there's some excitement, you know, but they're kind of like Romancing the Stone, A Jewel of the Nile. Those are 2 of my favorites. But Into the Night is with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer, and his wife is cheating on him, and he is like a bioengineer, something like that, and Dan Aykroyd is his co-worker, and he can't sleep, and he's complaining about not being able to sleep, and so Dan Aykroyd's like, you need to take the midnight flight to Las Vegas and basically go there and live it up wild for a night and all this kind of stuff. He says all this stuff for him to do there, which, you know, anyway. He's like, you can get a girl, you can do this, you can do that, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so Jeff Goldblum, who's like real kind of like nerdy and just as upset with like the condition of his life. He's like laying there in bed he comes home early from work because he's not feeling well, and he catches his wife, like he's standing outside the bedroom window, and he catches his wife having an affair, and he can hear her in there having an affair. And so he leaves, and that's when he's having the conversation with Dan Aykroyd, I think. And then he just can't get it out of his head. He keeps on playing over in his head, so he goes to the airport, and he's like planning. It stopped. He's like planning on going to Las Vegas, like he's gonna fly there. And Michelle Pfeiffer comes running through the parking garage at the airport, and there's like these like 4 Middle Eastern guys, and they're coming to get her. And so she gets in his car, and she's like, go, go, go. And so she has come back into the country. This is late 80s, you have to remember, okay? She's come back into the country, and she has smuggled in, I've seen this movie so many times, I can't believe I don't know this, 6 or 8, like perfect, uncut emeralds or diamonds or something, that when the Shah fell in Iran, the jewels were part of this. And so she's trying to like sell them, and it's like one whole night with them together, one whole night and one whole day with them together. And there's all these cameo performances from people. David Bowie's in it. Who else? The guy that did some of the Muppets voices is in it. I can't remember who else. This like bodybuilder guy from the 80s is in it. Her brother's like an Elvis impersonator. It's like, I don't know. There's just something about it that I liked. And, that's one of my favorite movies. But anyway, there are so many great. I should show all my 80s movies is what I should do. But I would have to go to my office and pull a bunch of them home, because most of my 80s movies are at my office. You know what I need to do is I need to go to my office, and I need to, because I don't think our VCR at home works anymore. I don't think our VCR works at home. I need to, it might, but I don't know how to hook it up to the TV. Alex would have to do it to me. It's like, I haven't done that in so long. But I want to watch that movie of Caroline's Wedding, so I can see, there was literally just a bike rider on here on the road. I could see him moving ahead of me, and now, like, he had these, like, red lights on his tires, and now he's nowhere to be found, he or she. That is so weird. You know, I still have not watched that video of Caroline's Wedding that Caroline gave me from years ago. You know, there might be some of her reception on there too, and I'm not aware of that. I would be really surprised if there is. But that would be really cool, because then I would have video footage. That's what I need to look and see. I would have video footage of like my mom dancing and stuff like that. I think it's just the wedding, but I could be wrong, because my mom like danced that whole night. But what I have is my mom, and she's reading the part in Corinthians about love. That was like her favorite, one of her favorite parts of the library. That was one of her favorite parts of the Bible. So anyway, I was thinking about, I might like to watch some of those movies today. We went to eat dinner tonight. I didn't really, to be honest with you, do a whole lot today. I had pre-filmed this video on Monday, and it was a sponsorship video that I did with Skillshare. And, so anyway, the box of stuff that I got sent from Warner Brothers was so nice. The guy was so nice. I don't even know how he found me. And I was so excited about that. I love that kind of stuff. I think it's so cool. And for years, mostly booktubers get that kind of stuff. Well, that I've seen a a lot of booktubers, not with movie, with movie releases too. I remember when the movie, what was that book by Jojo Moyes, Me Before You, came out. And a lot of people opened, like, they got from, like, the publisher and the movie producers or movie production company or whatever it was, studio. They got, like, the book, and then they got, like, tights that had bees all over them. Like, the main character, I think her name was Lou in that book. I don't know how I remember that. I read that book so many years ago. And I read it with my friend's daughter. She didn't even finish it, and she picked it. We were going to read a book together, and she picked it, and she didn't end up liking it. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. But that's funny because I remember that book so well. Like, I can just see it in my head, like all the parts to it. I saw the movie. The movie wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. The book was a lot better, though. I think there's like 3 or 4 books in the series now. But anyway, and then they got movie tickets to the premiere of it, like, or to the opening of it, the opening day and stuff. And I always thought that that was so cool. So I don't know how he found me, but I don't know, it was really nice. They sent me that stuff. I was really excited about it, especially since I had just been talking about it to people that I wanted to see this movie. So I'll probably watch that at some point this weekend and maybe review it on Monday. We'll see. And then I wanted to watch his other movies. Okay, so I didn't really do a whole lot because I had this pre-filmed video that I had, like, the sponsorship that I had done for Skillshare, which is actually like this really cool thing. I was kind of like, at first I wasn't sure that I wanted to do the sponsorship because I didn't really know a whole lot about it until I looked into it. And then they gave me like a free membership, and I have since tried it, and it's very cool. But my friend that I talked to, it was so random how it happened too. It was after my meeting that I did, not this week, but the week before. I was talking to him, and I was like, he was like, so how are things, you know, like, because he knows what I do, you know, on YouTube and stuff like that. He's like, so how are things on YouTube? And I was like, things are good. I was like, you know, I got 6 channels now. So he's like, 6 channels? I was like, yeah. And he was like, I remember when you first started that book channel, because he reads a lot too, and he and his wife read a lot of young adults, so he's always giving me book recommendations. But they read a lot of like world building stuff. This is a guy who I was telling him about I was telling him for his son about the Alice Oseman graphic novel books. And so somehow I got talking to him about he was like, yeah, I remember when you started that book channel. And I was like, oh yeah, I still am making videos on my booktube channel, blah, 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 whatever. I love that channel. And he was like, I just remember how excited you were, like, every single time I would talk to you about, you know, like, booktube and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yep, still am. And he said something to me about, I think he said something about, I don't remember how he said it. The first time I did booktubeathon, like, my friends, like, all remember, like, my first time of doing booktubeathon because I was so excited about it. I talked about it, like, afterwards a lot, because leading up to it, I wasn't, like, really sure how I felt about it. I've told that whole story on here before, but I felt corny for doing it. You know, I was like, this is so corny that I'm getting excited about this, you know? And it ended up being one of the greatest things ever. But, and actually a very good learning experience for me. So somehow we got into this whole thing, and I was like, yeah, like, I was contacted to possibly do the sponsorship, blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, he was like, oh, really? What for? And he was like, he made some joke. He was like another, like toy company. You know what I'm saying? Like, sex toy company. And I was like, hey, listen, you know, you used my code. I said, I know you and your wife used my code. He just laughed. And I was like, no, it's like Skillshare. I said, have you ever heard of it? And he was like, oh yeah. He was like, we both use Skillshare. And I was like, you do? And he's in IT. He actually owns his own business. And he was like, yeah, it's really cool. And he was like, we've been stuck at home for the last year. We can't go anywhere, you know? He's like, we're at home all day long with the kids. And he was like, it's a really good distraction. It's like my nose is driving me crazy, you guys. He was like, it's a really creative distraction because it's like these classes, but they're super fun and they're very creative. And he's like, I'm doing one on, I don't think I have any Kleenex with me. He's like, I'm doing one on, I have these like wipes, but that's not the same thing. He's like, I'm doing, I feel like in between like a sneeze and like I need to blow my nose. Do you ever feel like that? Anyway, he was like, I'm doing one on photography. My wife's doing one on plants. And I was like, plants? He was like, yeah, they have like a class on there about plants. Well, I guess I was right, huh? So anyway, I looked into it and I was like, this is really, really cool. And then I happened to mention it to another friend of mine, and my friend was like, yeah, I just started like this, you know, this trial thing of it, and she was like, it looks very, very cool. And then I was like, okay. So that was it. So I did the sponsorship, started my free trial of all that stuff. The website is really, really cool. And I wonder what is making me sneeze so bad. I almost feel like I'm like really allergic to cats. I almost feel like there's a cat in the car is how I feel. The weirdest thing about it is I'm like really allergic to cats, but like it's not that bad unless I see it. Like if I'm in a house and I don't know there's a cat there, it's almost like it's what's the word? Like Alex is really allergic to cats. Like he has to take Benadryl sometimes before we go to people's houses. Like at his mom's house, it's like really bad because she has cats and she has long-haired cats. But for me, it's almost like it's psychosomatic. Like unless I see it, like I don't sneeze. Like I can be in a house with somebody that has a cat and I never know it. It depends also kind of on like how clean the cat is, you know? Or if there's like a lot of cat like hair around the house. But as soon as I see the cat, like it's over. Like I'm sneezing like crazy. So anyway, I did the sponsorship, and go check it out. Go look on my Peter Monn channel if you want to get a free trial membership to it. The first 1,000 people, it may be gone by now, I don't know, but that many people may have hit the link. But the first step, you can still try it. The first 1,000 people get a free 3-month premium trial membership, and you should try it. It's cool. Like I was like really impressed with it. So there's all kinds of classes on like creative writing, and they're not like classes that you take and get a grade. They're like creative environments where you just like creative learning. They remind me of like we have this area through like Lawrence Township schools. It's like adult learning, and it's like how to roll sushi, and then some of the classes are only one night. Some of the classes are like 6 weeks. And they're taught by like local people. So like somebody might own like a small florist shop, and it might be like, the class might be how to take care of home plants or plants at home or something like that, you know? You don't get a grade in it or anything like that. It's just for like fun. It's like continued learning kind of things about, it reminds me of that. So if you want to check it out, you should go over there and check it out on my Peter Monn channel. And the link is below the video. But I had to wait for them to approve a lot of sponsorships. Most of the ones that I do, I'm just like, they don't wait, like they don't ask me, like I don't have to wait for them to like approve it. But some of them I do, especially if it's usually like a company that I've never worked with before. And I don't do that many sponsorships either. Quite frankly, I just don't get that many that I'm like, I can stand behind, you know, that I really know anything about. It's very rare that like, but when I do, I think it's very, very cool. I didn't really know how that whole world worked. I mean, I know people on YouTube that like literally get contacted constantly about sponsorships. I'm like, really? I don't. But I can remember, this is so funny because I just wore this tonight. My favorite sponsorship I think I've ever done. Well, not my favorite one, but I've had a lot of fun with them. But it's pronounced Jode. It's J-O-R-D. But it's this Jode wooden watch. And I did it a couple years ago. And I can remember I would watch all of these, like, I was watching all of these, like, guy vloggers. Like, most of them were gay YouTubers. And, they were all doing these like watch sponsorships. And so this guy reached out to me from then, and he was like, can we send you like, I think I got sent like, at that time I got like sent like this free watch, and like I may have just gotten sent the watch. It was either just the watch or it was the watch and like $150 or something like that. I can't remember. This was like when I first started on YouTube. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. To this day, you guys, I've had this watch like 5 years. I'm telling you right now, I so believe in this brand. I'm not getting paid to do anything about it now. I so believe in this brand, J-O-R-D. Okay, I get compliments on this watch every single time I watch it, wear it. People literally look at it, they're like, where did you get your watch? And I'm like, Jode, it's pronounced Jode, but it's J-O-R-D. They're like, oh my God, I love it. Literally every time I wear it. And I've really been wanting to buy a nice watch for my birthday this year, because I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna live forever. I wanted a nice watch forever. I think it's time to buy a nice watch. So I'm thinking about doing it for my 49th birthday this summer. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't really need it because I've got this watch, you know, like, we'll see, I don't know. But, so yeah, so okay, so put that video up, put up my vlog. I drove around and I talked on the phone for a little bit today. And that was kind of what I did. I was so tired today. And so I stayed up super late last night, you guys, listening to the 17th book in the Misfortune series, which is called Gaiters and Garters. I'm literally almost done with it. I think I have like 4 hours left or 3 hours left. I have like because I listen to it so fast. I can listen to them at 3 times speed, and it's so slow to me. It's so weird. Like, the narrator on there, she must be like, she must narrate the book. I love her, by the way, first of all, Cassandra Campbell. She's like one of the great, she does these different voices and stuff. She's a fantastic narrator. But like, and I sometimes slow it down because she's got a southern accent, so I sometimes slow it down to hear what she's saying because I can't understand all the words, but very rarely. But she speaks so slow that I can listen to it at 3 times speed, easy peasy. Like, it's just, I've been saying easy peasy a lot lately, I don't know why. But anyway, and then you know what I noticed was in the Misfortune book last night, she said easy peasy. I thought that was so funny. But no, like, I can listen to it and I don't have, like, I hear every word. So it's like, I listened to them fast, but I listened to a lot of that book last night. And my plan had been tonight to vlog and then finish it and start something else, which that didn't happen. But depending on when I get off, I'm like wide awake now. So I may listen for another hour and then go home and sleep for a couple hours because I want to film videos. I want to try to film videos today on all of my channels. We'll see if that happens. Oh, you know what? I need to do a review of Saint X for my book club. Well, I wanted to do this graphic novel haul, so I'm either going to do the graphic novel haul today and the Saint X video tomorrow on my BookTube channel, or vice versa. I've been posting a lot more on my BookTube channel in the last couple months. I got kind of away for it a while. There was like 1 month, I can't remember, October or November, when I literally like only posted like 1 video a whole month, and it made me so sad because I love that channel. And I've gotten back to posting at least a couple times a week. Well, I've tried to at least. Next month I think I'm gonna make like a schedule of like how I want to post videos, like with my Peter Does Stuff. I need a Kleenex like nobody's business. Like with my Peter Does Stuff channel and my Peter Likes Books channel, I want to make like a schedule just of those 2 channels, and the other 4 channels try to post every day. I know I don't have any Kleenex in this car. These are all masks back here. Which I bought all these masks, and now the only masks I use ever, because we have a huge box of them in the kitchen, are these black ones like this, these disposable ones. These are the only ones I like. I don't like the cloth ones. They don't fit me right. I used to at first. Now they're saying that we should double mask. Have you guys heard that? Does anybody know anything about that, or know an article about that that they swear by? I don't know much about that. I guess I need to read more into it. Oh, my nose is driving me crazy. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so Alex did hot yoga after work, and then he came home. I had said to him something because I talked to his mom, and she was like, do you want to do dinner tomorrow night? And so I had said to him before he had left for work, or left work to go to hot yoga, I said, have you talked to your mom about dinner? And he was like, no. I said, are you having dinner with your mom? And he was like, what is going on over here at the donut shop? Oh, it's just a semi back there. God, there's people waiting in line for donuts outside. And he was like, no, I didn't talk to her about dinner. I was like, oh, she mentioned it to me. And he was like, okay. And he was like, then like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, he texted me and he was like, oh, my mom just called me and asked me for dinner. Do you want to go do dinner with her? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we went to this restaurant called Verdi, which is like this Mexican restaurant real close to us. I've only been there one other time or two other times. I've only been there 2 other times, and both with this friend of ours. I started talking about this friend of ours that we went to this restaurant Verde with a while ago, and of course I said her name. So, but anyway, I remembered like going there before and not like, Alex loves this place. There's like a spicy skinny margarita that he likes there, which I don't know what that means, but anyway, he was like asking the waitress all this kind of stuff tonight. He was like, now does it have sweet and sour in it? Or not sweet and sour, but sour or whatever. And he's like, I don't want that and whatever. And she's like, so you want because he likes spicy margaritas with jalapenos in it. And then she was like, I think what you want is the skinny, he's like, yes, let's do that. The skinny spicy margarita. And so I had a Dr. Pepper and it was delicious. It was delicious. I don't know why. A Mexican restaurant, I always say this about the Coke, but like the Dr. Pepper was like on point too. It was like perfect amount of carbonation and everything. So, but I remember the last time that I went there, I got a burrito and I was like I just remember not being impressed with like the food at all. And I thought it was kind of expensive. And I got like a burrito and I remember it was like a vegetarian burrito, and inside, like as a vegetarian, I will say this when you go to restaurants, like one of the things I've had to learn is the vegetarian option is not always necessarily the most tasty option on the menu. Like you sometimes kind of have to like play around with things, and you have to like, you know, mix and match things, and you know, like maybe make an appetizer into a dinner and those kinds of things. Do you know what I mean? And I have also found that most chefs that work in restaurants or most cooks that work in restaurants or whatever are willing to like do for you, like if they have like a kid's grilled cheese on a menu, they'll make you an adult grilled cheese that's not, it's like fancier, you know what I mean? Like they'll do something kind of different or kind of nice with it, or they'll like I have literally gone to places before where they'll have like a pasta meal and it'll be like shrimp carbonara or something like that, or it'll be like where did we go recently in this? Well, okay, this was at Capri that we went to with Melissa and Jason the night that we went and saw the Christmas lights after Christmas. They had a risotto that had all this stuff in it, and I was like, can you just make it this mushroom risotto? He was like, oh yes, we'll do this and whatever. And they like made this special risotto for me that had all this, like, all these mushrooms, and it was fantastic. Like, usually, I have found, like, if you ask them and you're just really nice about it and polite, they'll kind of, like, bend over backwards for vegetarians, which is interesting. The other thing I've learned is that a lot of chefs and a lot of chefs, specifically, but a lot of chefs and cooks are vegetarians. I've had people, like, remake whole pasta mixes, dishes for me in a vegetarian way to make it really cool, you know? But sometimes the vegetarian options are not the best option on the menu, taste-wise. And I got this burrito, and it was like this vegetarian burrito, not tonight, the last time that I went. And it was like big chunks of like green pepper, big chunks of like carrot or something in it, and broccoli, and it just was like a salad inside of a burrito, and I hated it. And there was no cheese, and it was gross. I didn't like it. I mean, what is a burrito with no cheese? No, I'm just... So tonight, I was smarter, but we got queso, and the queso was absolutely delicious. It was delicioso. It was so good. And then I got this trio of empanadas that was cheese, corn, and something else in it. Oh my God, it was so good. And then I got the three, that was for my main course meal. And they were really small, but by then I was so full anyway. I ordered another thing of queso. Alex was like, do you want to take it home? And I was like, no, we didn't even eat it. I was like, we ate like a third of it, and that was it. But the queso was real cheap. But then I also got street corn. I don't know if you know this, but like I'm obsessed with street corn. Oh my God. Livery, this restaurant in Indianapolis, has the best street corn I think I've ever had in my entire life. They had good street corn, but it was real creamy. Like there was like this creaminess to it. Because theirs is literally authentic, like right off the corn on the cob. So you can get it on the cob or you can get it off the cob, and I got it off the cob. And so it's kind of had all the juices from the cob on it as well in there. And then they put this cream sauce on top of it, but it was great. It was really, I love street corn. And I was totally full, and the restaurant was real cute. I hadn't been to this one by us. Alex has gone there several times with girlfriends and just had like drinks and like, you know, appetizers. My husband loves to just go have drinks and appetizers. He's that girl, you know. After dinner drinks and appetizers. But anyway, and then his mom had some kind of margarita. I don't know what she had. And then she had this trio of street tacos, and it was like fish, shrimp, and something else. Is Dunkin Donuts open right there? I'm not gonna go to this Dunkin Donuts. I think you have to go all the way around over there. But it was like this trio of like fish taco. One was fish, one was octopus. The third one was octopus. She was really excited about that. She said she loved octopus. So it was fish, octopus, and fish, shrimp, and octopus. And then Alex got steak fajitas without the this is what like he's been doing a lot lately. Like with burgers, he eats it protein style. He'll eat it like on lettuce or just a steak or just a hamburger. So he got steak fajitas, but he didn't get any tortillas, and so he just ate the steak. He actually dipped it into the queso a little bit, but it looked really good. It was like really good pieces. It was a lot too. It was like this huge plate of all this meat. We had a great time. So anyway, I thought maybe afterwards Tanya might want to get a fountain pop, but she was like in for the night. She was tired. And I thought maybe Alex and I was like, well, maybe we'll go home and watch a movie. But he was tired because he worked all day, and then he had hot yoga, and then he came home, took a shower, and we went to dinner. I took a shower too. My hair looked really nice earlier. Actually looked very nice for dinner. No, I didn't just throw in this old sweatshirt. But tonight I didn't, and I don't know where my hat was. Where is my hat? You guys, I have got to go through this stuff. I have been sent so much stuff from people, and it's all in my back seat here. I literally have like 4 or 5 packages to go through. So yeah, so what was I gonna say? Yeah, I couldn't find my hat when I was leaving. Maybe it's in my bedroom, I don't know. On my couch. So this is the hair that you get tonight. But I actually did my hair earlier. I took a shower. I used all of my Sol de Janeiro products, my lotion, my shampoo and conditioner. And I really like this shampoo and conditioner that I got at Target. I don't like the paste, but I really like the shampoo and conditioner. I'm thinking about doing a January favorites. I think I'm about doing a monthly favorites video on my review channel every month. I used to do a weekly favorites, and then I got away from that, but that's a lot to do because I don't honestly have that many favorites. But I'm thinking about doing a monthly favorites because I've got like 5 or 6 things that I was like, I'm like kind of obsessed with this. Like I really have been using these things a lot. So I'm thinking about doing that. So I may do that tomorrow, or I may do that on Sunday. So we came home, and oh my God, you guys. It's not my allergies because it's the dead of winter. I don't know what is making my nose like itch. It's like itching. It's not like a cold. It's like I itch. It's the weirdest thing. So we came home, and then Alex was like immediately like went up. He took the dogs out, and then he immediately went upstairs and was in bed playing his game. I was telling him, I said, yeah, I was talking to my vlog about your game, and people were helping me understand it. And he was like, what's there to understand? And I go, well, you tell me, it's your game. This is smart ass. And he started laughing, and I go, no, like, I didn't understand. Like, I said, like, some of it looks like a slot machine. Like, you have to, like, get points. And they were being, like, real nice. And they were saying, yeah, you have to get points to build a city. He goes, yeah, I told you that. And I go, okay, but I didn't understand it. I think my husband thinks I'm an idiot when it comes to anything technological, which I kind of am, honestly. I don't understand a lot of the technology. I don't feel like I need to, and I don't really care. I really just don't. I know that that's horrible, but I'm just like, okay, I'm probably never going to play Township, so I don't need to know. But I am kind of interested, I guess. Intrigued a little bit. I don't know. Oh, it doesn't matter. But anyway, where am I at on time? I don't even know. I'm like, my battery is like halfway through. It'll probably start flashing any second now. Oh, I stopped it, didn't I, when I was telling that story about going to dinner with our friend. So anyway, he was like going to bed, and so I was like, I'm gonna lay down for an hour, and that was like at 11:30. Oh no, I got up at 1, and this is how I know, because I got up at 1 o'clock, and that's when I decided to sleep a little bit longer. Well, I had turned my side of the lights off, because we have those like Google light things, you know, and I got up, and he still had his light on, and I was like, babe, can you please, I think he was like going to the bathroom or something. I was like, he got up to go, he went into the bathroom to do something, I don't know, and I was like, can you please turn that light off, like it's really bright. He was like, yeah, I'm sorry. So he turned it off, because now that we have those like Google lights, like they're really bright, like they like light up the bedroom, which is great, right? Like, it's nice, especially during the day, which is going to sound kind of silly, but like I don't usually turn on the lights during the day because, you know, it's like we have sunlight in there anyway, but like it's like a different kind of light. This is such a dumb, I sound like such an idiot right now, but like, I don't know if you know what I mean. Like usually I don't turn on the lights. I'm like, oh, it's daytime or whatever, but this is kind of like, it makes the room look like it does at night during the day. I don't know how to explain it other than that. We just have like the light from downstairs coming in because we have the loft bedroom, and then we have the light from like the little window in there, which isn't a lot because we have it covered. So yeah. And we don't really have plans this weekend. He doesn't really want to do a whole lot because he's just like, I have not been able to relax this whole week. And he was like, I just want to hang out and relax. His mom was like, we were getting done with dinner, and she was like, do you want to come over tomorrow night and we can have, I can make dinner and whatever. I could just tell he was like so tired. He was like, well, she's like, or we can do Sunday or something like that. So we may do that tomorrow or Sunday. I think she was wanting to make chili. His mom's chili is so good. It is the bomb. It is so good. It is delicioso. It is so good. So that was my day. I had a good day. It's crazy to think it's almost February. I'll tell you what's crazy about it is, like, not like this is like yet again, not another genius remark, but it's like, it's almost February, which means then it's almost March, which means then it's almost April. No, like, I mean, I know that everybody knows that, but like the reality is like winter is going really fast. Like, it's kind of crazy to me. I was like thinking about this the other day, and I was like, it just seemed like it was yesterday that I was like getting ready for Thanksgiving, and now we're like 2 months after that. Like, it's crazy to think that, you know? I'm gonna put this LaCroix back in my bag, and I'm gonna save it for later. I'm not gonna open it. I'm gonna get some coffee at Dunkin Donuts. I hope that they, it'd be great if they opened our pool early this year, if we had some, like, in May. Like, sometimes in May we have really nice weather, really hot weather. It would be so nice if they opened it early. Is this Dunkin Donuts open? I can't tell. I probably shouldn't get a coffee now, but coffee just really sounds good. Hot coffee, not iced coffee. Although, you know what? If they still have it, I might have to get that purple drink, because that purple drink is so good. I'm burning up for your love. They may not even be open. Free hot coffee, members only Mondays. Do they have any new drinks? What's this? Mocha macchiato, brown butter donut, pink velvet macchiato. Oh, I might have to try that today for my review drink.
Welcome to Dunkin. What can I get for you today?
Could I get a medium iced matcha latte?
Alright, what else can I get for you?
That's it.
At 435.
Thank you. I don't think I've ever had this before. I should have done this for a review, shouldn't I? Oh well. Maybe I'll come back and do it for a review on it. Say, I've had this just one time, but I wanted to try it on here. It's delicious.
Hi, 435. Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good enough for you?
I like your sweater.
Oh, I appreciate that. Here you go, sir.
Thank you so much.
Give me the rest of your day.
Oh, thank you. That was quick.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
No problem.
He was so nice, wasn't he? Burning for your love. I don't know why I just drove up there and I was like, oh, this looks good. An iced matcha latte. So back in the day, when we used to work out every day, well, now my husband is, but when I used to work out every day with my husband, when we first started dating, at the gym, did I just say I wanted hot coffee and then I ended up getting this? So that's who I am, totally, constantly changing my mind. But we used to always get smoothies at the smoothie place by us. It was just like this local smoothie shop. I don't even remember what it was called. And I would always get a matcha smoothie. I love a matcha smoothie. But the matcha has to taste a certain way. It can't taste like, this is gonna sound bad, but like real matcha. Because real matcha is kind of like sour. It kind of tastes like, what do you call it? Stale milk a little bit, if you ever had it. So this will be interesting to see. I can probably tell you from the smell how it's gonna taste. No, I can't. Sometimes it tastes like seaweed, yeah. It's okay. I kind of wish I would have just got a hot coffee. Yeah, I don't love it. But whatever, I'll drink it. Yeah, it tastes like stale milk. I don't know why I like it in a smoothie better than I like it because I used to make them at home. I bought like a bunch of matcha, because matcha is supposed to be really healthy for you, from like Fresh Time. And then I would make I would just mix it and make smoothies at home, after I worked out and stuff like that. This is before I got on YouTube and I was actually a healthier human being, which I know is hard to believe, but there was a time that I was. Cheers. Well, I can come back and I can review that new drink that they have. That's exciting. Because I was going to do a Starbucks review today, but in all honesty, every Starbucks, Melissa Manchester, don't cry out loud, just keep it inside. Did you ever see the movie? I loved Melissa Manchester when I was growing up, but, oh my gosh, you guys, my nose. Did you ever see the movie, with Kirsten Dunst? What is that movie called? Drop Dead Gorgeous. Did you guys ever see that movie? And the one queen, when she's been hospitalized and so she's in a wheelchair, and I mean it's horrible, but when she's giving up her title, she's giving up her title to that Don't Cry Out Loud. That was one of the best movies ever. Denise Richards was so good in that movie, and so was Kirsten Dunst. And what was her, what's that, Allison Janney, is that her name? Oh, she was so good in that movie. And so is Allison Janney is fantastic anyway. Is that her name? Did I even tell you guys what my nightmare was about? I don't even think I told you what my nightmare was about. Oh my God, the never-ending nightmare. So I had this nightmare that this guy that I was like kind of friends with, this part wasn't the nightmare part of it. Well, first of all, it was in my apartment, my very first apartment that I had. Oh, my stupid battery. And it's out of focus. The battery's about to die and it's out of focus. Come on, don't do this right now. Okay, I'm just gonna tell this really quick and then get off here. I was in my first apartment. It was this guy that I was friends with. It was the guy that I used to do the acting class with. But we were older. We were like in our 30s or now. And he was visiting with this friend that he actually was friends with in high school. And I knew that like they were all part of the same friend group. I was not part of that friend group. The other guy was like living out in the middle of nowhere. He had on these like Guatemalan like snow boot things. And he was like living out somewhere taking care of goats or something. He was explaining it to us. It was so weird. And I was like, that sounds so peaceful. Like, I would love that. Because he was doing it with this girl that he was dating or something she had found in this place. And he was kind of like telling me, it was like, this is where you can find peace and serenity. It was this really like weird conversation. A conversation I really would have in my life. But then it flashed forward and I was like in this room and it was like this apartment. And I was with like a friend of mine. It was some woman. It was like a friend of mine, but we were younger. It was like when she was like, we were like in high school because I was with like this girl and I was like, kept on looking at her and I was like, oh, and then I realized it was my friend. And you know what? I just realized what this nightmare was about, I think. But anyway, there were these people that were like trying to get us to come out and they like, and we knew that they were going to murder us. At least I always had these real vibes. Okay, I had to pull over because the battery died. I didn't realize I had that little time left on it. Anyway, these people were trying to kill us, and we knew they were trying to kill us. And we were like in this apartment, and it had like this closet that we had like been like trying to like get into the closet because we thought if they came in there, but then we realized they were going to kill us anyway. And then it had this door, and the door was like the staircase because I could remember like in my dream coming up the staircase. And it was like on top of this restaurant. It was really weird. It's like this apartment on top of this restaurant. I don't know that I've ever been to this place before, but anyway, it was this apartment on top of this restaurant, and you like went up these stairs, like these old stairs, and then right into this apartment. And so like there was like all these people outside this door, and then there was like this bed, and then there was like this sliding glass door that went out on this like patio. This like wooden patio. I feel like this is somebody's house that I used to know. That was like on top of this restaurant. And all of a sudden these people figured out how to get on the patio. And they were trying to burn us out. Like they had lit this thing on fire. And like the door was crumbling down. And I like looked down at my arm and there was like the ceiling was like burning and crumbling. And I had like stuff on me. And so this girl was like panicked and I was like, you need to let me take care of this. And like I pushed her through the door and got her to safety. And then I did something like I rolled out of through this glass door. I like pushed through it and like got her and like we got to safety and we were like running and we were fine. And that was like my nightmare that I had. It was so weird. But it was like really vivid like when I woke up. I don't think I've ever had like a nightmare about burning like that. I don't remember ever having had nightmares. Like I've had nightmares about tons of falling nightmares. It's one nightmare that I have. It's kind of like a reoccurring nightmare. I think it's when I feel like I've got too much going on in my life. Because I haven't had it in forever. It's been like, God, I shouldn't say that, but it's been like a year since I've had it or more. But it's like I'm on the interstate and I have to take this one exit, and like this exit is so steep that I just have to like let it go. There's another one when I'm in Chicago and I'm coming home and I take the wrong exit, and so then I have to go through like this because I don't like driving on interstates, and definitely not interstates where I have to like go over big bridges and high places and stuff like that. Like that freaks me out. I'll do it, but like it freaks me out. So I've had that dream before. I mean, I've had every kind of possible nightmare that you can imagine, but I don't know that I like had a burning one before. I don't know. Burning up, I'm burning up for your love. It felt real in the dream though. I feel like Boo Radley was in my dream too. Boo Radley's been like in a lot of my dreams lately. Probably because he's like the last one I'm talking to right before I go to sleep, because I'm always like, Boo Radley is a good boy. He's such a good, he leans his head back and looks at me like, I am Dad. I'm like, and Boo Radley is such a good boy. He's the best boy ever. Who was I talking to today? Oh, I talked to Tanya forever today. And was it Tanya that I was talking to about this? I was talking to my cousin Caroline, and she said something. We were talking about something. I can't remember what we were talking about. And she said, well, I mean, I am my own person. And I started laughing, and I go, I'm laughing because you said I'm my own person. And she goes, I know, I am. And I said, oh, look, they have a hot yoga place right there, like Alex goes to. And I said, I had known that, but like, it just, do you ever see something and then you like see it again the second time and you're like, oh, like the second time is more like eye-opening than the first time? As people have pretty lights in their little patio out there. But anyway, I want to get some of those lights for our patio this year. I always say that and then I never do, and I don't know what I'm waiting for. So, but I said it's funny because whenever I do like Boo Radley's voice in like videos, or if he's like in a video and I'm like talking like him or whatever, I always say like, I'm my own person, don't even worry about it. And she was like, she was like laughing. But anyway, I love my cousin Caroline so much. Listen to that silence. I know it sounds crazy, listen to that silence, but it's like just the sound of the car like moving at night, you know, like no honking horns, just the sound of the car. It's like I remember when I was a kid, you know, we would go out of town for the weekend. I would go with my dad. My mom never went out of town for the week. Well, maybe a couple times, but she hated driving on interstate, so very rarely. But my dad and I, we went out of town a lot. And I can remember my dad used to drive this little Porsche, like well, he has 911 now, but back then he had one of those like 944s or whatever they're called, you know. That was kind of like the coupe kind of thing. And they have these bucket seats in the back. I can smell it. It's just, my dad's cars always smell brand new, you know? And my dad loves those long stick pretzels. And in his car, he always has like long stick pretzels, like a container of them or whatever, like right there. And like he drinks diet root beer and eats those long stick pretzels. Isn't that so funny? And he calls root beer. But anyway, that's like as messy as you get. And my dad always forever had this like briefcase thing, but it wasn't really a briefcase. And he always kept it right behind his seat right here. I remember that when I was a kid. And he would always have like scrubs in the back seat. Like scrubs and like face masks actually. And like those things to go over your shoes. Because he would like get home and he would like, you know, take them off sometimes and then put them back in his car for like the next day or whatever. But his cars always smelled like leather. They still do. Like they smell like brand new leather. But I can remember when I was a kid, you know, my dad would have like just like a plain like, I don't know, Hanes or Champion or whatever hoodie that had been washed like 1,000 times in the back seat. And I would get in one of those little bucket seats in the car, and it would be like, you know, 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and we'd be driving back from Michigan in the summer, or Chicago in the winter, or wherever, Boyne Mountain. We used to go to Boyne Mountain, Michigan a lot and ski in the winter with friends of my dad's. And so, you know, I'd be in those little bucket seats, and I can remember covering myself up with, like, his, what do you call it? His, sweatshirt, and it was, like, perfect, you know. And then my dad would listen to country music, and I can remember him just like singing along, kind of like tap into the country music. And then the sound of like, I love the sound of a turn signal. I don't know what it is, it's so soothing to me. But I can remember, you know, and it's funny because I notice this with the dogs when I take them places, that they can tell the difference too. I remember as a kid when like we would be on the interstate and I'd be like half asleep, and then when we would go from the interstate to like the main roads, and then he would be using his turn signal, you know, because then I knew that we were close to home. And I can remember that, and we would get somewhere, my dad would be like, come on, Pete, we're home, it's time to get up, we gotta go inside and go to bed. I can remember sometimes he'd carry me. That must have been when I was like really, really little. My dad was my best friend when I was a little kid. It's so funny looking back on that, how many we used to do this thing where we were like Big Jim and Little Jim. When we moved into the house that I grew up in, my dad got a U-Haul to move some stuff over there. And I can remember that day we got probably root beers, because we were always forever drinking root beer. The scene in my book that I wrote about Dog and Suds, that was my dad and I mean, not the conversation, because I never had a twin brother that died, but my dad and I used to go to Dog and Suds all the time on the way up to Michigan to the boat in the summers. If you're new, my dad kept a boat in Saugatuck, Michigan in the summer, so we would go up there like every weekend, every other weekend. And there was a Dog and Suds on the way, which is like a drive-in restaurant where you get hot dogs and root beer. And they would serve root beer in like glass mugs. Like it was an old school Dog and Suds. And then they would have like these Coney dogs. Now I have never really been a huge lover of Coney dogs, but I would get them because my dad loved them. Well, I don't eat hot dogs now, obviously. Well, vegetarian hot dogs, but they're actually pretty good. But I like relish and mushrooms. I like relish and mustard on mine. My dad, my mom too, and Tanya does too, loves a Coney dog with all the fixins on it. Like literally everything that you can get on a Coney dog, they love it. Well, my mom's gone now, but you know, obviously everybody knows that. But my dad, I mean, God, he loves a Coney dog with like everything on it. Remember we would eat those when I was a kid. Raw hot dogs too on the boat. My dad would always be like, you want a raw hot dog? And I liked it. I never thought there was anything weird about it. I also remember in Michigan, I don't know if it's changed, but you could take in your cans for like 3 cents a can for recycling. And so I would like collect all of these cans from our weekends. I would like all the cans we used, but I would also like go around the marina with this girl that was there. She was from Chicago. I remember her name was Tanya. Isn't that so funny? Tanya? It was Tanya or Tanya? I don't remember her last. I swear that's her name. I said something to my dad about it not too long ago. He was like, you have a great memory. He was like, I remember that girl. He was like, I have no idea what her name was. But I can totally see her in my head because she had like this little bowl haircut. And I think her parents had a sailboat too. And so we would like just kind of like run around the marina together. And we just had such a blast. But I can remember we would like collect those. She would help me collect the cans because I don't think her parents were taking them in. But on the way out of Michigan, my dad would stop at the gas station. We would take the cans in. And it was like 3 cents a can, I think. It's 2 or 3 cents a can. I can't remember. Maybe even 5 cents. But I think it was 3 cents a can. And I feel like some of the cans, it would say how much it was on there. It would say like 10 cents, 3 cents, 5 cents or something like that. But anyway, depending on maybe the can size, I don't know. But whatever I found, I remember my dad would like let me keep, you know, and I was like, oh my God, $4. I always think it's interesting, like, I was talking to Liliana one night. We were over there and she was like, anyway, we got talking about like Carlitos, and he had bought himself like, I mean, he's 8 and he had bought himself like this. The kids are really into these gift cards now. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? These like Nintendo gift card things so they can play online. I don't know what it is, but they're all asking for gift cards. Like at Sebastian's birthday party, Sebastian opened this present. He had like no clue what it was. He had no idea. And Carlitos turned around to all of his friends and he's like, he got a gift card. They're like, he got a gift card. And they're like going crazy. And Sebastian's like holding this gift card up. He has no idea what it means, you know? And he's like, I got a gift card. Okay. I don't know what it means. Sebastian doesn't know what it means. But anyway, but he got a gift card. So I said something to Liliana, and she's like, well, he bought a gift card. And I said, how? Like, with what money? And she's like, well, he's been saving his money. I said, who gives him money? Like, we don't give him money. Like, who's giving Carlitos all this money? And because he had like 60 or 70 bucks or something that he bought this gift card with. She's like, he spent all of his own money. I said, well, I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. She said, he's been saving it for a while. I just never had that much access to money as a kid. Like, I know people did, but I mean, I never got like, I think my allowance was maybe like $5 a week, if that. I think it was maybe $2 a week or something like that. I just never really like, I don't know. It's weird when I look back on it, like in my household, which was really my mom, but at my dad's house, I mean, it was the same, but I don't remember having strict chores at my dad's house because I wasn't there as often as I was at my mom's, you know what I mean? I had things I had to do. Like, I can remember when my stepmom said to me, I don't know how you do things at your mother's house, but at our house, we went to rinse off our dishes and we put them in the dishwasher. I'll never forget her saying that to me. And I can remember after that, like, I was always helping with it. Like, I had always helped my mom with the dishes, but I can remember I just kind of put the dish in the sink, not even thinking about it. And it's so funny when I think back about that. But I was expected to help clean up and do all that kind of stuff, you know? And I know that probably sounds like harsh. My stepmother was never harsh to me. She was always just my stepmom has been just very loving but very direct with me through the years, you know? Like, she never, I'll say one thing I appreciate is, I've had a lot of friends of mine who, like, the stepmother would go to the dad, and then the dad would come to, like, the kids. Like, that was never the game in our house. Like, if my stepmom, like, if I came inside and I threw my coat over a chair, and then, like, took my shoes off and left them, you know, like, just scattered around, she'd be like, can you please pick this stuff up? You know, she would say, like, you know, like, it takes 2 seconds to put a coat, you know, on the hanger, or take it up to your room. Can you please do that? Never in a mean way, but like, just like, this is how it's gonna be, you know? Like, and I always respected that, and there was always a respect that I had for her, and I appreciate that in retrospect, that she just came to me for stuff, you know? It wasn't like, because I think that in a lot of situations, that whole situation is like triangulated between like the parent, the step parent, and the kids. I never had that going on, you know? If my stepmom had an issue, she brought her issues to me. I mean, unless it was real serious stuff, like my addiction, like when she and my dad were talking, and at the end, she was like, you need to cut him off. Like, that wasn't stuff that she would come to me and say, we're cutting you off. Like, that was a decision they made together, right? But as far as like stuff around the house and whatever, like, yeah, she'd be like, I'd get up in the summers and she'd be like, I've got a couple things I need you to do for me today. I need you to water the plants around the pool, and can you also, like, you know, fill the pool level? And I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. And she'd be like, okay, well, I'm going right now and I'll be back at like 4. Can you have that stuff done by the time I get home? I mean, she was always, it just was that, like, I just think that we were very respectful of each other, and when I was there, I knew it was her home. It was my home as well. They let me know that, but I think I knew that, like, this is her home, and I'm gonna respect her, you know? And my mom, I will tell you this, also, like, she also was really good with that, because, like, if I ever complained or whatever, my mom would say, that's her home. Like, you need to respect that that's her home, just like this is my home, you know? And, my parents were all really supportive of each other. Like, they parented on the same page, like, nobody's business. I can't even imagine, like, the trouble that I got into, I mean, like, in high school with drugs and, like, my friends and stuff like that. And that was with them parenting as close as they did. I can't even imagine if they never talked or whatever, you know? So anyway. What was I going to say, though? I was going to say something about that. I started telling something, and then I don't remember what I was going to say. Something about my dad. Anyway, I don't know. The boat. I was talking about the boat and going up there. But one of my favorite things I remember was driving home from trips late at night, especially when it was like cold and snowy outside, like after we had gone skiing for a weekend. So I don't know if I've talked a lot about this, but I grew up skiing too. Like, we used to go out to Colorado, Park City a lot, Deer Valley and Park City. We used to go skiing all over the place. And so when I was growing up, I skied a lot. I can remember I got into like little competitions at the ski places and stuff. I have the pins that I won and everything. My dad has actually some hats that I have where I have them like on my hat and stuff, which is kind of funny, ski hats. I used to always, I think I said this just the other night, I used to always get excited about wearing the sunglasses instead of the goggles. But I have some goggles downstairs too. I wore them as like a Halloween costume a couple years ago. I went as a skier. A couple years ago. That was probably like 8 years ago now. Time flies. Time flies when you're having fun. But I wore that. That was a cute Halloween costume actually. Now that if I don't say so myself. But we would go to like Boyne Mountain, Michigan, which was beautiful. It wasn't like real big mountains, but it was like nice to ski on. We would also go in Indiana too. Indiana has a couple of ski places. There's like ski, I don't remember what they're called, but anyway, but a lot of man-made snow that's like very icy. But like my dad would take like the kid of like this, like the son of like a friend of his, and the three of us would go, because I think he would think, you know, like Peter have like a friend or have somebody to do something with, and then we would go to like, he still Paoli Peaks. That was one of Paoli Peaks was one of them here. But like they would have night skiing, and you could ski like up till like midnight, and we would do that, and then we would drive back at like midnight. I can remember we would stop for like McDonald's on the way home, and then. But most of the time I didn't have like a friend come with me. It was just me and my dad, and I can remember we would stop at McDonald's and just eat in the car, and then we would drive home, and I can remember falling asleep in that little bucket seat, and just the sound of a car at night is so soothing to me. I just love that silence of that sound. I wonder if that's why I love to drive around and just like listen to audiobooks at night. Like I wonder if it's just really relaxing to me, you know, from all of that. Because I mean, that was probably one of my most like soothing and peaceful things when I was a kid. Isn't that so funny? I just always kind of like to be in like small places like that, you know, like, and there was just something about the backseat of my dad's car, and it just like, I can remember those seats were like perfect for like, I could just like get right into them. And as I got older, they were uncomfortable because then I tried to lay across both of them, and you can't do that. But when I was younger, I can just remember, and I would sit in that one so I could see my dad, and I would like curl up like up against the door, and I would watch my dad. I think of myself like being like Boo Radley now as I look back on it, you know, watching me, and I would watch my dad just like sit like this and singing to the Christmas, or singing to the country music, and drinking his diet root beer and eating a long pretzel stick. I think that's probably, I was thinking about this the other day, like I was telling Tanya, like that song Poncho and Lefty was like my dad's song, like me and my dad's song when I was a little kid growing up, with Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. Like I loved that song. I still love that song. It was like that was our song when I was a kid, and we would each sing our part. He would sing the first part, and I would sing the second part. And I think, and anyway, I'll have to call my dad tomorrow and tell him about these memories. He'll get a kick out of it. He's like, I don't know how you remember all this stuff. But then when I would tell him, he's like, you're right. God, I forgot all about that. He'll be like, that car I had, oh my gosh, I forgot all about that car. It's so funny to think, he had this sunroof that literally like you popped it out, and then it went in the back, and it was like kind of like a square. Do you guys remember that? That was the car that I actually took out my finger in, because I had my hand, I was standing up through the sunroof, had my hand out through the door, my dad closed the door on my finger. Ow! All right, you guys, listen, I'm gonna get off here now. I have vlogged a lot longer than I thought I was going to tonight, which was fun. I had a good time, but I want to listen to a little bit of my audiobook before I go to bed. It's already 6:43 in the morning. Oh, Mark Anthony. My mother, speaking of my mother-in-law, she loves Mark Anthony. Every time he comes on, she's like, oh, Mark Anthony. What was that song that came on at the restaurant tonight that I love? Suavemente. Do you guys know that song? I love that song. I have it in my iTunes somewhere. But anyway, I have the slow version and I have the fast version. But tonight they played like a fast remixed version of it. But anyway, I I can't believe that he's on 70 Love channel. Well, they were just playing Shania Twain a little bit, so I think there's some newer music on here as well. But anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I love you. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!